Ladies and gentlemen and everyone else, it is our divine privilege to bring you the World's Finals here in London. I'm Medic, I'm joined by Betty and by Kobe. And what a series lies ahead of us.
And what an amazing intro that was. They made us cry right before Champion Select, Bettius.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to have to push the emotions aside because we're getting straight into the draft.
Jax Ban
thrown straight towards Bin. Kai'Sa taken away from Elk as well. Immediately, our attention is drawn towards the Yone.
Team on my blue side first game, they're huge, they're huge.
So far.
These were the two main questions we were coming in, looking to test in game number 1 of this series.
To znamená, že když bude 5 her, tak budou mít o jednu blue side víc. A mají target bunny. Blue side je o dost lepší než red side.
If you do ban it, the Ashe comes up super high priority as well. These bottom lanes for T1. So they're going to probably trade
Yone
the
first
Ashe
pick,
back
okay.
on the other side. Faker goes to the Yone again.
But it could also be
Ashe
Zeus in the top lane,
Pro,
playing the Yone.
Kai'Sa, Kalista, Jax Ban, Varus by Aurora.
Skirmishes here for BLG.
Very well could be flex pick there for T1. Zeus, of course, finals MVP.
Skarner, Ashe za Jonáše.
Sejuani is another pick that you usually want to pick with the Yone, so T1 may be looking in that direction.
27 pro her
Skarner's already been picked up by BLG. Those melee synergies with the Sedge.
You have to remember that Ziggs race is in priority a lot for Gumayusi now that depending on what the direction they go in the jungle, Gnar likely
Gnar pro
Zeus,
okay. A tady se bojím ale co vyvaří ty vole Bin. Blindovat Gnara, jako na Worlds je to fajn, ale taky 22 výher, 13 pro her. Tohle je dobrý, to je dobrý, od T1.
And the AP that you bring up with the Ziggs here, definitely something that T1 have to be thinking about. All AD at the moment. And they only have one left. You either go with the Sedge
Sejuani by byla mega good. Oner je mega dobrý Sejuani hráč. Jeho nejlepší champ. Hej, zatím mají Oner nejlepšího hráče, nejlepšího champa, Sedge, Oner a Zeus taky. Bye, Varus. Jo. Setupli si to oba dva, jo. Ale oni 1, 2, 3 měli, oba to čekali. Oba týmy věděli, že co přesně se stane.
I think that Silas into the Yone matchup is always a bit of a gamble. He must be picking it largely for the team fight value. Sejuani, Gnar and Yone all have great ultimates to steal. When we think about BLG, their team fighting has been a core part of their success at this tournament. But they've seen the same Ziggs that we have. They're going to plan it away. Will T1 look to respect Bin, knowing that he is famous for his Camille on the top side?
I think you have to. Both these teams know each other so well. They've matched up so many times. And at this last MSI, the Camille was effectively used. Double protection bans. They actually do the Renata themselves.
It's
such a great pairing
with Keria having, it is a very good pairing with the Ashe, as you say, but Keria has been the
Renata insane,
so really bringing it to the forefront of the meta.
It's also something that really stuffs heavy engage comps, and since T1 are showing a lot of dive.
Teď budou muset vymyslet, co budou hrát proti Ashe. Jin není dobrý do Skarnera.
Like Xayah, Rakan immediately as a potential, but again they are lacking in terms of AP. What direction are they going to go? Is the Jin now going to be taken away from Gumayusi as well? When we think about this tournament, that Xayah has been very impactful, but with the Rakan taken away from On, it does bring the question of what have they prepared for us in the bot side of the map. You expect top lane to be locked in here for BLG, but maybe they want to guarantee the safest round possible.
The Camille you were talking about is still available alongside that, something like the Rumble that has had. Although
Skarner Rumble je dobrý
combo.
kombo.
Kind of fell off a little bit, but still very impactful in the top lane. Struggles a little bit when you get into lane swap situations though, and so perhaps T1 will be thinking about that now.
Well, now the big question comes, what is T1 prepared in the bot side of the map? Again, we're looking for a little bit more AP damage. They want to diversify that damage portfolio. So what direction are they thinking about? They're using all the time available to them.
Co piknou?
Caitlyn by byla good. So much CC here on the side of BLG. They do throw down the Caitlyn once again.
A bude Kate Lux, Kate Bard. Bard by tady actually byl good. Bard tu je good. Podle mě Bard je tu lepší než Lux. Lepší je Bard tady.
Really leaving us at the edge of our seats here. Holding until the last moment.
Brown.
Pikou
Browma, aby to neměli, aby to neměla BLG, Ash Brown. Zajímavý. Ale Brown se Joanny, Caitlyn, Jonek, Nar. Mají 0 AP, nepotřebují AP. Serafin je tady dobrý pick. To je dobrý pick jak svině tady. Tohle by byl insane pick od ona. Bart není zase tak good. Real taky ne, ale Real Rumble, Skarner, furt je to wombo combo. Ale tyjo, Serafin by tam byla fakt insane, by the way. Kde AP? Nepotřebuješ AP. Jako, chceš mít AP, ale nepotřebuješ really AP. Jo nedává 35% AP. Ale bude to pro ně problém, no. Jakože to, že nemají AP, jako nepotřebují AP, ale bude to pro ně eventuálně problém, pokud tam budou Mountain draci. Protože Real Skarner bude moc tanky. Hrozně bude záležet na top lane a mid lane matchupu, jak půjdou. Hrozně záleží na tom mid matchupu. Honestly, top lane matchup taky záleží, ale hrozně záleží na tom mid matchupu. A Yone je dobrý do Silese.
Being on red side, wanted to test the waters in game number 1 with the Yone again being left up and having, Knight confidence on either Silas or things like their Kali even.
Jak zabil Skarnera, nebo zabil?
If they cannot beat it this time around, you're not afforded that luxury later on in the series.
Remember, T1 had side selection. They won the coin toss earlier in the week, decided they wanted to start on the blue side. It has been a favorable side so far at Worlds, but BLG...
Smiggle v pohodě, ale prostě musíš mít empatii a pochopit, že 10 vteřin před opening ceremony se nemůžeš ptát na to, jestli ti pomůžu se s Twitch účtem, to je prostě 50 IQ.
That is the one big question in Worlds Finals. Pressure at the highest that it can possibly be in the entire year, and they are ready to meet that challenge.
This is
level 1 hnedka.
The crown heavy on the heads of T1, not just with their own expectations, but also the expectations of the LCK, of their families. BLG trying to reignite the LPL after they've had 3 years without
docela špatně blokujou. Tady oni špatně defendí, ty máš špatně defendí. Dá Ečko nebo flashne?
What a sneaky move there. Knight on the Silas able to slip over and get behind the red buff to come from the other side. Take down Guma, take down the Caitlyn.
Doufám, že se netiltne. Teď bude strašně důležité, jak budou abuzovat Caitlyn flash down a first blood na Ashe. Proč tady nedefovali tak, jak se defuje proti Silasovi, že máš prostě jeden tady, Midař je tady, AD je tady v tom bushu a support je tady, aby viděli právě tohle, co se děje. Tohle je právě hodně blbý.
Looks like it's going to be normal lanes. No lane swaps coming out from either of these teams. Shun wasn't spotted on his initial pathing. Owner will be spotted when he goes over to the Razorbeaks, as there is a ward waiting for him there.
Yep, both junglers gonna head full clears down to the bottom side of the map. One thing we've seen a lot in T1 games
nice, pěkně faker.
Area specifically mid to faker, especially in these melee matchups. Getting time for the Braum is going to be more difficult now that they lost Guma's flash early. They're getting pushed in. Elkin on are not going to let him
have Faker ještě objeví z toho, že nice. Level 2.
The strength of the Ashe in the early laning phase, getting that early level 2 as well.
Má longsword a 2 potky extra, to je hodně blbý. Ale Shimish, jak si toho všimáte ty myši vůbec? Já si to nikdy nevšiml.
Because Elk, starting with the first blood, the extra longsword in your inventory just feels so good and completely changes how the early map looks in this matchup.
Now BLG have already dropped pings down onto Owner. They know that he's on the bot side of his map, and the risk of a dive is very real. With Faker's pressure in the mid lane, it's going to be hard for Knight to potentially roam down and look for a dive alongside his jungler, but Jun already sending his sights on the bot lane play. We'll see. With TPs available, there's always the possibility. Notice as well,
Zavadil pro ně Jun, aby se Johnny negankla, to je smart, protože Ashe nemá flash a pushuje. Caitlyn, Bram jsou safe, protože nepushujou.
Because that's what you want if you're BLG. You want to be able to continually harass Guma and Keria down in this lane, have them in a position where they are either looking for CS or eating your damage, and hopefully both for BLG. On there, crashing down out, Gumayushi and Keria have been able to hold the wave just outside of their tower range.
Magor, já jsem hypnutý jak kokot. Bouncing wave bude tady muset teleportovat, tady to může Faker, nemůže to freeznout.
Is going to be a little bit annoying that
anyway,
Bin also on the rumble is pushing up, and Bin is going down to check out that Scruttle.
Botlane je zatím relativně OK, teprve teďka podkuje v 4. minutě proti Longswordu a Ashe nemá podky 2. Oni dobře tradujou. T1 dobře traduje. Vypadá to, že se netiltnuli tím tou smrtí, je to super vidět. Ashe měla 2 Longsword a 2 podky a reálně prohrává trady a neměla 2 podky dřív, než Caitlyn podkovala. A on to chtěl buffernout, ale nebuffernout. Ale on má ještě TP, ne? Nemá TP. Kurně. To je blbý. To posral.
People have gone wild for how confident Faker has been in laning at this tournament, and him eating in there, taking the trade that Knight offers as he goes straight for it. Faker as well, you know, it's one of the big things with T1 heading into this tournament. His lane phase was not great in the LCK.
Zeus has to flash away. Shun looks for more, and BLG have found 2.
BLG's able to find it on the top side of the map. Zeus caught unawares, the wave in an awkward spot. Owner not there to provide support. In the bot side as well. Elk and On able to get the cleanse out from Gumayushi.
Tady jsem chtěl vidět top lane, jak setupli ten gank, to. Proč to neukázali? Byli jsou nahypovaný jak svině, no. Uvidíme, jak moc velký bude faktor jo náš mid-game of late gameu, ale Skarner je hrozně OP. Jo. Dobrý flash cancel. Tady ale neměl co dělat a s tou špatně si se zapnul wave.
And it's a very awkward situation for Zeus to be in just because of the state of the wave. Now
Ono is covering to help him get
that push out. Bin still looking to try and trade as he often does, but now the swap's coming through. We know that the grub spawning in 10 seconds. On already back
Grabik swap
with his AD carry Elk right behind him. They're looking to contest his objective, but Carrier looking to match in the mid lane.
It's going to be 5 players on the top side for both teams right now as we do see Owner starting up the grubs. Might just look for a smite on one here.
Caitlyn má BF, to je docela dost. Ale oni tady chytnou, oni ho chytnou dřív než to. Borci! Oni ho chytnou před... To bylo dobré. To bylo dobré. Jo, dobrý dodge. Faker hraje po piči, ale ty je vidět, že to Keria trošku choukuje. Guma to taky trošku choukoval. A byli jsou fakt ty vole hodně nachystaní. Close. Faker je kámo locked in jak vole já ve streamu Clashi. Akorát trošku different level.
Guma has been giving a little bit of free time to push out that bot side wave. He's going to try and get himself a plate as Faker trades with Elk in the mid lane. Elk about halfway towards that level 6, a little bit more risky to go in like that if you are Faker when he does get his
ale dobře agresivní je.
Getting so much damage done here in the mid lane, keeping him there. Of course, they've rotated Knight down to the bottom lane, down to that side lane. And he will find so much success in, be able to push it back out after Guma had shoved. And this is going to be so nice for the setups here for BLG. Again, their team fight will be so synergistic once they're able to bring this together. You have to think that they're going to rotate over towards this dragon. They can control that objectives and you get to draw your enemy to you.
Got to remember that BLG have a bit of a
Zatím ty vole byly Soulknighti jak hajzl, kámo. Ještě, že T1 mají aspoň jednoho grubíka, že nedali 3 gruby, jinak by to bylo hodně blbý.
Playing off the advantage they have with their laners, and they're converting it into the first dragon of the game.
Straight from even champion selects, and you see the smiles on their faces, the confidence there. They're looking aggressive in their level 1. They find reward in their level 1, and they continue to force so many plays here. Let's see if they can keep it up as the game goes on, though. You know T1 are very notorious for being difficult to actually finish off in these games.
Zatím je to playable, jo, borci, není to jako crazy vůbec. Úplně v pohodě můžou T1 comebacknout, tohle je v pohodě zatím.
And T1 they're going to have to find ways to either usurp that or navigate their way around that, because they found a lot of success with pick comps, but with the Braum, Caitlyn, they're going to very rely on Ona to be that initiation
divný, že to mačou takhle ty linky.
Which is going to rely on good vision control, which right now BLG is not giving them. Look at this vision setup on the bot side of the map.
Faker díky 400 goldů behind z toho, ze CS-akování, z linky, z těch swapů a takový. To je docela bad. Agnar Rumble je hrozně... Jsme viděli Zeusa, jak misoval každý CS na topu, byly tam nervíky červíky.
A lot of us looked at how T1
played the early game, who tends
to be in the advantage.
Jak mají mismatchnutý. Ty vole, Knight.
BLG here upsetting the apple cart, so to speak.
Knight has just been exceptional this tournament, and
nemají pohlídanou turel hlavně, zavarděla jejich jungle a může roamovat. Protože měli špatný lane, já jsem nepostřehl, jak si posrali ten lane status. Drawing a little bit of time, so Sejuani not immediately going over to Gromp, kind of hovering around, see if Faker's going to need anything else, and it'll also tady ty CS diffy už začínají být huge na tom.
If you start to see the mid lane pressure here kind of spill over into other lanes as well for BLG.
To je dobrý, že zůstal Faker. To byl actually dobrý bait.
Into the top side river and he's just moving into fog. He's creating that extra point of pressure, which means that Ona might get invaded on. Maybe jungle plus mid is going to come and put pressure on his jungle. Bin backing in a brush. Where has actually Bin gone? Just those subtle bits of pressure on the map that force T1 to hesitate before they make a decision.
Jinak dneska v Brně ve špalíčku mám pocit se je 7 hodin v kyně tady tato Worlds. Tam mohl být opening taky po piči.
All right, so BLG, you can see they've got the early lead on timing on this map. With the push on bottom side
nevím, jestli v Praze je nějaký ekvivalent toho, jakože v kyně se to promítá.
Into a purchase off and has his teleport ready if they decide to fight this grub fight. Currently Faker as well collecting the minion wave now. His teleport ready to answer.
First item na Silasovi, first item na Sejuani a Skarnerovi. Tady je to blbý, tady byli jsou silnější. Nevím, jak to udělají. On to neviděl, to TP, proč neflashnul? Dobrý, flashnul. Dobrý. Tady je to dobrý, tady Faker veme pláty, oni sice budou mít 5 grubíků, ale oni jsou tady prostě si... Oh! Guma! Ty debile! Tak to je huge! Tak to je huge. Tak to je huge. Ty 4 a 5 grubů je hrozně velký rozdíl, aby si to pochopili. Tam se místo toho, aby se spavnovali 2 malí svině, co aplikují ten debuff, tak se spavnuje jenom 1. Plus máš menší damage o dost. Ty vole, tak tohle Guma to tady to hodně savenul. To bylo kvéčko od Caitlyn. A? Tady to můžou zahrát, ne? Tady to podle mě mohli zahrát a stannout toho Knighta a zkusit to za to. Ale ten Knight Silas vypadá nebezpečně, kámo.
Should be fine.
He's going up towards Mega as
okay.
Well. He can trade in. TP
Top lane.
Top
lane!
On has no flash and only 200 HP to work with. Now that's nothing. Sent back to
T1 is back!
T1 find their first 2 kills.
Buff top lane, 1v2 double kill. Zmrt.
Strikes here. Wait, Shun is trying to hold off until Knight arrives to defend this tower. Still gonna be some turret play money as well as the kills here for T1.
Kámo, top lane je broken.
Great awareness from Zeus, recognizing that in the face of the bot lane, he was actually stronger. He knew that he had the Mega Null.
Omlouvám se za sprostý slova, musím se naučit nemluvit prostě, zase mi bude volat táta.
Recognizing they had the TP advantage as well, because BLG used 2 TPs to fight over those second.
Kámo, tohle je huge, to je straight up comeback. Ještě tady Caitlyn veme ty vole tolik plátů na midu. Ulala, tohle mám rád. Tohle vypadá dobře. Kámo, ale jak broken je top lane prostě. On by ho solo killnul, on by solo killnul oba dva by the way. Oni nemají flashe, nikdo z nich. No, Ash by nezabil, ale... I když možná jo, actually. By měl zase zase throw. Zvedl by on by dal zase stun, throw, dvakrát throw, když hodíš stun, než hodíš znova. Teď huge bude, kdo chytne first turret. Musí protektovat first turret. Ten Herald bude taky huge. First turreta na topu nebo na midu. Musí defendnout top turret.
And gold is one thing, but really it is about the item completions. And before Faker does get his Blade of the Ruined King, you know, already Knight sitting on the Proto Belt, that playmaking item for himself, gives you a lot of that confidence to be able to make the play.
Potřebujeme first turret pro T1. Vzít mid lane je na jednu vlnu hit, top lane taky. Tady to bude tady bude zvědavý, bot lane taky. Tady ta first turret bude huge.
And as you rightly said, Kobe, I imagine that Faker is incredibly close to that blade completion. On his next back, he should have it, and it is crucial. It is a game changer in terms of your ability to fight on the sideline.
Blbý je teďka, oni budou mít teďka setup na Heralda nebo na first turret na top lane, protože mají tempo.
Seems like they should be able to get it though. Another thing that's kind of hard for fans to track usually is information that the teams have because it's not necessarily shown on the scoreboard.
Tady Billy dostane first turret, Silas dostane first turret, to je blbý, to je hodně blbý. To je hodně blbý. To je hodně blbý. 1000 goldů prosila se, to bude advantage. 915 Silas.
Yeah, notice that again. It kind of while T1 did find that TP play, now they're behind in terms of TP. The arrow connects mid.
Ještě když je minignát, tohle je hodně blbý, tady je to blbý, hodně blbý. Tohle je ace pro Billy klidně. Ty magore, co tohle byla chyba jak blázen, ta tier jednička. Proč takhle hitujou tier jedničku?
BLG find 3, all of them sitting on Elk.
A triple kill for the AD carry of BLG, a nice arrow to set up the whole play. T1 saw an angle to secure that mid tower and immediately get punished.
And BLG are so quick with it. Elk's arrow snipes him right out of the air after the 2 kills with the Herald, immediately turn it into gold. Liquid gold here for BLG. They shoot ahead on the map.
So many structures
towers out of it as well. Yes, so much gold goes into their pockets. 4.5k the lead now for BLG.
Tady už to, že dám nechali tu first turretu, ta first turreta na top lane plus Herald a teďka tady tahle chyba jen prohrála hru. To byly dvě velké chyby. To byly dvě velké chyby. To jsou dvě velké chyby, dvě obří chyby. To jsou crazy dvě chyby.
The undisputed best team in the LPL coming out firing on all cylinders. They are not giving T1 a moment to regroup at all.
Faker now
even under attack, he's slowed in the pit.
The TP is coming behind here as they look to try and turn this play around. Bin trying to get the damage down onto Faker here, hit him with the harpoons. Faker dodges away with Q3 and manages to live through the Leandries. T1 finds some semblance of hope in the bottom side, but BLG are not stopping their advance on top. Owner locked up with a glacial prison, and he's sent packing. BLG are ripping this map to shreds.
Kámo, ale proč oni prostě neforsnuli, proč si nefaknuli tempo T1, aby získali třeba mid turretu first? A pak give upnuli Heralda. Oni give upnuli jak tier 1 na top lane, tak Heralda. Oni si mohli fucknout tempo, oni si to tempo fuckli anyway.
And we're only 18 minutes into the game and BLG have already opened the doorway into the T1 base.
Ty magore.
They do lose a tier 2 in the bottom side, but BLG are in the driver's seat and they are not letting go of that steering wheel.
Ash Arrow, Elk trefil Faker a zabil ho.
Because now their inhibitors open in the top side. They do have these hex gates to work with. 2 minutes on the next Drake. Baron up in a minute 50. We've seen T1 sneak them in the past to get back into games.
And we said it in the draft.
Better draft, tohle není draftem.
It really is a comfort pick and play
Postarali si tady
BLG.
tempo, ani z toho nezískali a prohráli Heralda a tier 1 a pak ještě hitujou tier 1 zbytečně.
I think I can get this solo kill onto Faker. He has no way of getting out of this situation, so they're forced to TP to collapse. Gumayusi comes down, Zeus comes down, but on the other side of the map is BLG.
Exactly. You can see the counter-attack from BLG on the mini-map. They immediately beeline straight for that tower.
Oh, we didn't see that!
Cross-map arrow actually hit!
That's insane!
Elk the sniper again!
We weren't looking at the arrow! That was our job! Oh my god, beautiful arrow, and then the collapse comes through from BLG.
That is just beautiful. Even though Bin
Je
went
starý,
down,
on podle mě shotkoloval next move a ne... Víš, v tady té situaci tak shotkoluješ move.
He used the hawk shot to spot it out. The hawk shot comes in, then the arrow. That is sublime from Elk. He's 5-1 now. And it's just such a dominant performance from BLG. T1 trying to get anything they can on the other side of the map. But look at that explosion in terms of gold advantage for BLG past the 15-minute mark.
And I mean, it all stems from that level 1 play. The fact that they got that flash out on the bot side of the map. Elk and On had consistent pressure on the bot side. Knight was able to trade very effectively and hold his lane in the 1v1. Even later on in the lane, out trading Faker. And on the top side, that's where Shun was putting the pressure. That's where he was able to find that early gank. And it's just been skirmish after advantage, after pick, where BLG have just been slowly but surely dominating the map.
T1 trying to set up something sneaky on the top side. BLG aware that T1 do like to do this. Carrier is just going to recall in the alcove. And in the end, it's much ado about nothing. The Drake up in 20 seconds time. BLG pinging it.
Comeback. T1 jsou gold z tohoto comebacknou. Ale hodně worrying je, že si posrali tempo a give upnuli first Heralda a first turretu na top lane. Potom ten setup na první grubíky, že se nechal carrya odchytnout. A hodně worrying je, že když byli mají v pozici na to kolapsnout, tak oni hitujou tier 1 mid turret. A hodně blbý je, že vyhráli, byli na hard side.
To game 1, and while this game definitely isn't over, BLG have all the tools to secure the first game of this series.
And coming into this series, we need to remind you again, BLG at MSI this year, they beat T1 twice in best of 5s, and last year at MSI. They definitely have shown that they have what it takes, and they are definitely showing that in game
goldy
number 1.
zase tak huge.
You could even go back to 2022 when Bin beat him on RNG in the MSI finals as well. I mean, T1, the World Championship has definitely been their tournament. But when it comes to MSI, that is where the LPL have been able to find those advantages. Now, though, here at the World's first game, BLG.
Já chci jít hrát solo queue, jak se prostě dívám na to lolko. Chat, kdo chce jít teďka hrát solo queue? Já vidím Caitlyn Ash, já chci jít hrát solo queue. Já si chci jít koupit Kau na prvním baseu a nemysnout ani jedno CS první 10 minut. Dáme challenge potom. Dáme challenge, kde já budu hrát jenom na CSka, abych nemyslel ani jedno CS prvních 10 minut.
But the Blade of the Ruin King yet to see second item for Faker. It really comes online when you get up towards 2-3. The Yone is so powerful.
Ale 4000 goldů, pokud budou dlouho crossmapovat, tak to není tak huge. Tak to není tak huge. Billy musí dát Barona, aby to snowballnuli tu hru. Pokud T1 nedovolí Billy vzít Barona dalších 8 minut, tak je to comeback. Strela comeback.
Just keeping tabs on the Baron as we wait for Elk
to nedáš,
to arrive on the map. He head skates out with his 3-item power spike already completed. His Lord Doms because they're so far ahead.
Elk, a player that when he came onto the scene was called Jongmong, widely regarded as a good player who would be way too aggressive a lot of the time, would overstep in plays. People said he has got Jongmong fever because he would just throw games from time to time. We haven't seen that in years. He has been so consistent for BLG. And now with 5 kills to his name, you have to expect that BLG will protect him in these
Fakt jako nesmí prostě 7 minut, ještě 7 minut! 7 minut nesmí nechat Barona.
Sniping Zeus in the hop in mid lane, of course, the kill onto Faker as well. And it looks like, again, you don't have to give T1 anything. BLG are so far ahead and they have so many pick tools, not to mention just the arrow, but also Shun and Ond, and they're gonna look for it.
Shun going in with the Ishtal's impact, can't quite land onto Ona. Does have that passive as well to avoid that slow.
Yeah, they're just gonna chase them out of that jungle.
Kámo,
Make sure that the entire
Skarner
pathway
vypadá.
leading to Baron.
Skarner vypadá jako takový ten písečnej Magor z Indiana Jones prvního filmu. Byl to Indiana Jones? Taková ta mumie. Škorpion. Baron, OK, ví. Night Muffling! Oni nevidí Nighta! Kurva ne! Pane bože, Night! Night je tu good. Oni nabejtili přes Barona, tak to byl nádherný play, hej, to jim musím nechat. To jim musím nechat. Oni nabejtí ve dvou Barona setup a Knight je out of vision tady v tom, tady má Varda a tady je out of vision Knight a flankne to, nádherně.
They try and fight them.
Musí to nějak stylnout. Oni ho zonujou, výborný zone. Jone, Gnár a Skarner Freeman ult. Byli jsou kurva good, hej. To byl nádherný play, jak tam nabejtili. Jak nabejtili toho Barona ve dvou a prostě Knight tady flankoval celou dobu, to bylo, oni bejtili to, oni celou dobu chtěli, oni nechtěli finishovat Barona, oni chtěli nabejtit T1. Tohle je crazy. To je crazy. Ty debile.
The kills are going to Elk, but the plays from Knight are phenomenal. Keep track of this.
Dívej, on ví, on avoiduje tu vizi, on ví kam zavordí a on celou dobu avoidnul vizi. Ty debile. Tak to je Magor. A tady jak blokne Onera, jak ho blokujou a tady finishujou a pak dodgenou Faker ultimátku, ty vole, to je.
Faker's trying to get away from Knight, but the Knight wants the throne! And Faker's been pushed off it! BLG are on fine form today, and T1 just can't keep up.
The golden left hand of the LPL strikes down the GOAT in the side lane, and BLG will collect their 3rd dragon. They might collect the entire base before we see the 4th.
T1 musí jít zpátky a nějak to vyřešit. Skarner Ashe 1-2 je, oni si tam setupnou Skarner Ashe, je to docela problémek. Ty Magore. Ty Magore. Ashe je problém, Skarner je problém. Není to prostě redovat za Jonáše. Oni sice vemou Jonáše, ale oni si říkají Ashe Skarner, dva OP piky. 1 za 2. Ty pičo. Ty debile.